Okay, so Affinity Designer 2, it has the ability to be able to change the anchor points or pivot points so that you can make a movable joint in your characters or in your creations. I'm going to show you how to do it in a very simplistic fashion. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a couple of ellipses. We're going to go ahead and just do this one. And let's say that this is the upper part of an arm. Okay. Now I'm going to move this over to the side here. And I'm going to create another ellipse, same color. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, and this is going to be the forearm. Now I'm going to rotate this and get this so that the perspective, or that everything is the way that I want it, so that I can have this toggle area here out to the side, because that's where I'm wanting to move things. And let's move that there. Now I'm going to go ahead and move this to where it is right around here. So we're going to select both rows. I want to move it into a spot that is easier for me to see. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a compound layer. And you go up to your layer and we're going to create a compound. So this is all one shape right now. But if you go and select this, you will be able to see the child layers. Now you'll still be able to control these, and it's going to come in to be important here in just a little bit. And what I want to do is I want to go ahead and create a quick 3D effect so I can show you the reason why this is really going to be very helpful. I can take this entire layer, because I've used a 3D effect and not a gradient, and I can move it around. And the light source will still be the same. Now, to create a movable joint, what you're going to do is you're going to select each one of these areas, each one of these ellipses, and you're going to change the anchor point, and you do it by transform origin, I should say. You're going to go ahead and do the crosshair selection here. Now you'll see a little blue dot right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to move it up to where the joint would be in an arm. We're going to do the exact same thing for the smaller circle. So we're going to move it to where it should be. Now, of course, this isn't going to be perfect, but for the sake of this, we're going to just put it right about here. Now, what we're going to do is, what you can do is you can take this and move it to where it is an actual moving point. Okay? And you can do the same with this. Now, of course, that's not going to work because you want the whole thing to move. So you have to choose the whole object. And for the whole object, it has its own anchor point. So we're going to move that up right around there. And let's go back in and switch something. This just came to mind. Let's go ahead and move this anchor point down here, right around where the elbow is, roughly. That way, I'm going to be able to move this. So that works for this joint. I wanted to rotate it. And you'll notice the lighting scheme stays the same. So if I were to choose this and move this around, the lighting scheme stays the same. If I were to select the entire compound layer and move this around, the whole thing moves. So you've changed your origin point. Now you can move these around if you want to. So if I wanted to do this, and then I were to select this and move this around to where it's like that, now you'll notice the elbow joint not exactly looking around. Again, that's not a big deal for this whole tutorial, but you can go ahead and move that. See what I'm saying? You can move these joints around and make them reusable. And using the 3D effect, you would be able to have your light source and your shadow source remain constant, as opposed to making a 2D effect using a gradient fill on the 2D side and not having this availability to be able to move your object around to where it wants. Now, you'll notice that whenever I selected the entire compound layer, my origin point moved. Now, I do not know why it did that. I wish that it would stay, but all you would have to do is just move this back around to where you wanted it to be, and it will go back to where you want it. Now, here's the thing. If you take this origin point off, it puts it right back to the original origin point being in the center. It does it for everything. So you've got to make sure that that origin point stays on. And once it stays on, it should go back to where you had put it in the first place for the whole thing. This time it stayed. But in any case, this is a way of creating movable compound objects, sort of like you're creating a hinge, and you can use this for any of your creations. You can save this as an asset to put into other creations, and your origin points will still have their fixed spots. So if you have a single character that you've made for like a story in an illustration that you want their arms to move, but you don't want to redo the whole gradient fill or redo the whole thing, you just change your origin points. I hope this helps somebody. Later.